Next, a new push and new legislation to legalize pot in the state, and we're number one when it comes to emergency preparedness. This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. A push to legalize marijuana in Delaware. Currently, there is legislation to do just that, and the author of that legislation is here with us right now, Representative Helene Keeley from the 3rd District in Delaware. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Why do you think it's time to legalize in Delaware?
Well, I think it's time to legalize for the simple fact that more and more Americans and Delawareans are seeing the use of cannabis in a different light. They don't see it as this ultra dangerous drug anymore. They see it as comparable to going home at the end of the day and one of the spouses opening up a bottle of wine or grabbing a beer and having a glass, comparable to going home and using cannabis.
Except that there is a lot of pushback, and it's been a very difficult push in Delaware, especially because you have, it sounds to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because you have so many Republicans in the Senate who pushed back against it, and you had a governor who would not sign any legislation when it comes to legalization. Has that dynamic changed?
Well, obviously we have a new governor now, and you are correct. Previously, Governor Markell said that he would not sign a legalization bill, and I respected that. I do, you know. But now it's a couple years later, and there's a lot more information out there about other states that have legalized it and how they're actually operating. For instance, Washington State and Oregon, and now Massachusetts is getting ready to come online. So there's a lot more information out there. So I think people, as we get them more educated, I think we'll be much more comfortable with the idea. I mean, think back to Prohibition, where people, you know, when they took away the alcohol and we had all these speakeasies and everything else, eventually the people spoke and said, we want it back.
Is the whole push for this about money?
It's the simple fact that it's happening every single day around us. You know, people who wear suits and ties to work, people who wear construction boots to work every day, you know, and everything in the middle come up to me and say, Helene, we need to legalize it. Helene, we need to legalize it. And then the most recent survey from the University of Delaware that took place, and it's over 61% of Delawareans agree that we should legalize it.
But the money can't be ignored.
No, the money cannot be ignored. And in the bill, there are several things that we do. Some of the money goes to education. Some of the money goes to rehabilitation services for people with addictions. And another portion of it goes to police officers so that they can learn and be trained to identify someone who's driving under the influence of drugs across the board, because every single day right now we have people who are driving under the influence of heroin and opioids every single day in this state. What we've learned from other states is, and I will, even though I hate to use Colorado as an example, but I will, is don't go too fast. Don't go too fast. Colorado legalized their cannabis use, and everybody opened up stores left and right, but they had no regulations in place prior to that first store opening its doors and selling its product. Massachusetts and Washington State and Oregon are doing it right. They put all the regulations in place. For instance, Massachusetts, when they passed their law to allow, you know, legal use of cannabis, it gave the institution 6 months to put all the regulations in place. So again, Massachusetts they're pretty much finished with all the promulgations of the rules and regulations, and they should start to open up stores in the next several months.
Colorado was really the experiment. It was really the petri dish, wasn't it?
It was, and they did it wrong.
Well, there were a lot of problems, and one of the problems they had, it seems to me, in Colorado was the edible marijuana.
Absolutely, 100%. For people to irresponsibly make edibles looking like a child's candy was absolutely 100% intolerable and unjust, and that will not happen here in the state.
But why would you need edibles at all?
People don't like to smoke.
So it's healthier, because from what I'm told, the edibles are much more potent. And anybody that had any kind of health problems with the marijuana, even just panic attacks, was because of the edible marijuana.
Probably so. I wouldn't be surprised about that. And also the fact that a lot of people who haven't used cannabis in a very long time they're not used to it. It's like not drinking for 6 years and then all of a sudden having a glass of wine. It's going to go straight to your head and you're going to be drunk.
But the first thing you brought up is the major problem, in that they were putting it in candy, and then so kids would see candy laying on the table and pop it.
And there's other ways to do it. There's absolutely other ways to do it. I mean, a couple years ago, I was out in Colorado, and I went to a store, and they literally had products that look like Laffy Taffy, which is a child's candy, and I don't believe that's acceptable. And there's ways. I mean, a lot of people prefer to use it in oil, and they would put it in in their wine, or not in their wine, but in like their tea or something after dinner. They may actually infuse it into a food that they may like to use, and that's really I'm saying that on the medical side. A lot of people use the oil on the medical side.
But you don't want it looking like a food product that would be readily available, and somebody could mistakenly eat that, not
Correct.
knowing there was marijuana in it.
The labeling on cannabis and the products in all of the states have gotten really sophisticated. I mean, it's very plain, it's very clear that it has cannabis in there. It tells you the exact dosage that's in there. And anyone, it's basically like a reading of, don't drink alcohol if you're pregnant, don't smoke cigarettes, it can cause cancer. There's very clear labeling on what the product is, what it does, and what effects it can have on you if you're not cautious. They very clearly state that you should take it in small doses and don't eat the whole candy bar.
Most of the research that's come back from Colorado has been positive if you're an advocate for legalization. Most has. The one exception was driving under the influence. That rate went higher. Can you deal with that?
Sure, and I think that one of the reasons why the rate went higher is for the simple fact that it was legalized. So of course there's going to be people out there who haven't used it and weren't using it because it was illegal, and now since it's legal, they're trying it again. And they upped the ante as well. They put more officers out on the street that were highly trained to identify. I can guarantee you today, even if we put more officers out on the street that would identify people driving under the influence of drugs and not necessarily alcohol, in Delaware, we would find more people who are driving under the influence just because we have trained officers. Currently, right now, we don't have enough.
So what are the chances of this getting through the legislature first, to the governor's desk?
Sure, I'm hopeful. I really am. I'm very hopeful. I mean, so I need 25 votes because it is a new tax, and I think I'm almost there.
And then that's 25 votes.
Correct.
You have to go to the Senate.
And then it goes to the Senate.
That's the problem, right?
I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. Senator Henry believes that she has the votes as well. Absolutely. And look, honestly, I'm not. When it comes to big issues like this, let's make no mistake. Sometimes these things take a little bit longer than one would like it to be. And I'm very happy that we're even just starting the dialogue. But I'm not satisfied with just the dialogue, and I still have high hopes to get this passed during this General Assembly, which means between now and the end of June, and we still have the fall next year as well.
One last point on this, on the process of getting it through. If the governor comes out and says, I'm not going to sign it, do you stop the effort?
No, because I believe that the governor needs to understand that even from 2 years ago, there are many, many, many more people who want this to happen.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in today. Representative Helene Keeley, a Democrat from the 3rd District in Delaware. When we come back, we'll talk to another advocacy group pushing to legalize marijuana when the Delaware Way continues.